Okay, again, I want to welcome everybody here for coming to the HR Field and DPO PMP Google application setup. I want to let you know this is our agenda for today. I'm going to be, first of all, starting out with some PMP updates, which I'm going to talk about some of the Google tracking spreadsheets, our PMP probation guidance, which is something new that came out. This kind of falls more in our HR division part. Also, I'm going to talk about the PMP DPO website, and we're going to take a quick look at the Google app and give it a review. Right now, we're also going to be speaking about the spreadsheet and the PMP app interactions. I'm going to go do a step-by-step set of procedures, which is also in the website now. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about additional resources. Now, if anybody has any questions while I'm going through the presentation or talking about the website, just please feel free to speak up. I believe Nina and Louis, they're both on this meeting right now. And if either one of you can help with the chat room, that's another area you can ask questions, but I'm perfectly fine with you just speaking up.
Sure, I will be looking at the chat. That is Nina.
Okay, Nina, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Same here.
Thank you, Louise. Okay. First of all, I wanted to start out with our 2021 PMP setup checklist. And this is the area that every one of you that are working with the checklist, whether it be a DPO or HRDPs, because we do have some HR division partners that also work as division process owners. Once you have checked your division tracking sheet and verified everything in it and done all of the things that you need to do, I'm going to show you again where to go find that. Please make sure that you check off on column X. And that deadline was yesterday, so I'm hoping that I shouldn't see any boxes that are not checked off. If so, I'm going to have to reach out to you to make sure that these are checked off, because we have no way of verifying that you have already reviewed your tracking spreadsheet. This is a new thing that came out, and I think a lot of HR division partners are pretty happy about this, because every year we would go through some situations where we'd be like, well, this person, they're on probation, but the division really wants to give them an outstanding, but they're on probation, so that means they have to use a probation review form. Probationary review form does not have a rating of outstanding. So because of this, we needed to solidify and to kind of standardize this whole process. So this new probation guidance matrix is now part of the website. I'm going to show you guys where to find this matrix. We'll talk about the different scenarios. Right now we have scenario one, when you were hired and when you were serving your probationary period, with effective date anywhere on or between September 1st through December 31st of the previous calendar year. So it gives you exact dates. It talks about eligibility for a PMP review, meaning you have the full PMP form, not the probationary form. How many months, non-probationary months in the performance period. It tells you how many months. Eligibility for the current calendar year, which would be the 10-1 merit increase, and hired on or before April 1st. So if you look at this whole matrix, it talks about scenario number 2, and it gives you a date between June 30th and September 30th, and then scenario number 3. So we talk about, this is really the only time that a person can actually receive the PMP review form, is scenario number 1. Scenario number 2, it talks about this time frame here, June 30th through September 30th, and no, you're not eligible for the PMP review, but you are eligible for a probationary review form. You only have 2 ratings, solid performance or not meeting expectations. There is not going to be any exceptions, given that this is going to be the probationary end date range. And then scenario number 3, you were hired and serving a probationary period with an effective date anywhere on or between April 2nd through September 30th of the current calendar year. Not eligible for a PMP review. There's 0 non-probationary months. No, this would definitely also be a probationary review form. Solid performance or not meeting expectations. At the bottom here, it talks about represented staff. They're going to use the annual PRD/P2R form and corresponding ratings in the Google process for any probationary effective dates of the previous calendar year. All others will use a normal probationary process that's completed outside of Google Docs. Any questions on probation as far as when to use a probationary form? Okay, I'll keep going. This also talks about the tracking sheet procedure for probationary employees. If you fall into scenario number 1, it talks about how to mark your tracking sheet, mark it as initialized in the review status column through the Google Doc process. If you mark it initialized, what will happen is this employee will receive a regular PMP form or the PRD P2R form. Scenario number 2, the person's really still in there. They haven't completed their probation. So you can mark it as complete in the review status column and then follow the normal probationary review process that is completed outside of Google Docs. So we also talk about for non-represented employees, select solid performance or unacceptable. Remember, you can only choose those 2 ratings. It's all actually nice too if you can make a comment in the comments section that the person is still on probation and will be receiving a probationary form. Then we have scenario number 3, mark as ineligible in the review status column. They will follow the normal probationary review process that is completed outside of Google Docs. No rating should be assigned as they're ineligible for a rating or a merit increase. So again, go back to the dates. If we go back to the previous, these dates here are going to tell you which scenario, 1, 2, or 3, that the person falls in. And then follow the procedures that are laid out here. There's also some questions. What do you do in the probationary form? It says, when do you use the probation form versus PMP form? Go back to the matrix and it'll tell you. In the probationary review form, what if I want to give a rating that's not on the form? For example, solid performance or outstanding. And it says employees are required to serve the probationary period. They should be utilizing only those ratings available in the probationary review form. If a midterm review is conducted for a career track scientist during the performance cycle, does a PMP need to be done? Yes, a PMP form will still need to be completed. The intent of the PMP is to capture the assessment for a 1-year performance review cycle with the corresponding goals. So the PMP will also assign a performance rating that will be used for salary administration purposes. What if I use the full form? Could I then give a performance rating of excellent or outstanding? Probationary employees are only eligible to receive the solid performer or not meeting expectations. So do not use the full form if the person falls out of the categories that we mentioned above. Does a merit increase reflect performance only through June 30th or beyond? The merit increase represents performance from July 1st of the previous calendar year through June 30th of the current calendar year. So that has now been added to the website. So hopefully this is going to help everybody as far as when to use a probationary form or when not to use one. And again, I'll show you, I'm going to do some demos with the website. So I'll show you exactly where it's located.
Pat?
Yes.
There are 2 questions on the chat.
Okay.
I believe Marcia is answering one of them, I think. But Lauren is asking, will we have a chance to review our forms we submitted yesterday to make sure that we're following the correct procedure?
As far as your forms, what are you, I'm not sure what she's referencing to.
I'm referencing the spreadsheets from yesterday.
The checklist?
Yeah.
What about the checklist?
Because your last slide said that if we had scenario 1, we put it this way, scenario 2, we put it this way. And I'm not sure that we necessarily had that guidance while looking at I personally.
At the tracking sheets? Is that what you're talking about?
Okay.
Okay.
When we were reviewing the tracking sheets.
Okay, no problem. You still have time. Get the tracking sheets done as soon as we can. If you do have anybody that falls under these probationary end dates, then.
Okay, thank you.
Not a problem. Thank you, Lauren.
Pat, this is Latanja. I do have a clarification. I just want to make sure that I have this right. So you mentioned, or I think in the slide before, if they are going to receive a probationary review, we're going to mark them ineligible, right?
You have 3 scenarios, and each scenario depends on these dates.
Right. But I'm just saying, so, okay, for the sake of this question, scenario 1.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not going to get, or actually scenario 2, I'm sorry. So they're not going to get a PMP, but they're going to get their probationary review. Do we mark them ineligible or do we mark them complete?
You would mark these complete.
You mark them complete, not ineligible.
These would be complete. Scenario 2 Scenario 2, mark as complete in the review status column.
Okay, if they're gonna, okay. So I just want to make that distinction because I was marking them ineligible, so I just need to change that.
Yeah, you don't want to mark them ineligible. The other thing too, I'm going to bring this up even though it's not about probation, postdocs. All postdocs are eligible for a review.
Right,
They're just not eligible for a rating.
right.
Okay, so I just want to mention that because I was going through some of the tracking sheets and I kind of poked around earlier and I saw a few postdocs that were listed as ineligible. Anybody you list as ineligible, please put just a little comment off to the side where we have that comment section as to why. So
Okay, so the second part to my question is promotions. Somebody was just promoted and it was after 4-1. Do we mark those complete or ineligible?
No, if they say they were promoted after 4-1, what will happen is they would be working, you'd have to work with 2 supervisors. And each supervisor, the person that had, say the previous supervisor would be the supervisor that was there the longest, then the new supervisor. So the 2 supervisors have to work in conjunction to complete the review.
So they still going to go through the process
of getting a review. They may not be eligible for merit, but
okay,
they're eligible for a review.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, that was it. Thank you.
No problem.
Can I also just comment that, this is a new matrix for us and we had asked for feedback on just, if this addressed all the questions, and we would be happy to build on it and revise it just to make sure there's function, that it's functionable.
Okay, I'll just do this. That's fine. Thank you.
So if you have any feedback on it, we should add more clarifying points, please feel free to reach out to myself or Pat or Maria Marudas, and we're happy to include that. Some divisions, this is pretty ingrained into their process and a lot of them are knowledgeable, but for others, maybe some elements are new. So for the
You want me to go to the table?
out to your
Sure, that's fine.
Okay, thank you, Marcia. Yeah, definitely. If any other things could be brought up, that would be helpful. Okay, so the
Turn
next
it off.
I'm going to be talking about is office hours. Those are going to start this Friday. And I think somebody has.
Sorry, I'm in the meeting. That's the only reason. Sorry.
Mute. Can you mute, please? Thank you. Anyway, office hours, we're going to start those up again this
Can I
year.
just
We
grab
had
the
them
cover?
last year.
Yeah, thank you.
And so those will be starting on Friday at 1 p.m. They are optional. And basically what it is office hours are where myself, Luis, and Nina will be conducting basically one-on-one. Bring your questions to these office hours. That's what they're there for. We can actually give you one-on-one. We had a few office hours last year that nobody really showed up. We had one person showed up, one-on-one, how to set up their Google app. So again, it's up to you. We also had some folks that showed up that just wanted to listen in and listen to other people's challenges. And that's okay too. So just to let you know, the other thing we'll be doing is I'll probably be recording them as long as there shouldn't be anything confidential, but we'll be recording them so that we can then do kind of the greatest hits and we'll be posting that. Excuse me, I think somebody has, I'm going to disable.
Yes, thank you.
Hi, somebody has their microphone on. Can you please shut it off?
Mute, please.
Mute, please. Thank you. Okay, so after office hours, that'll be on Friday. Now the next thing I wanted to go to is the PMP DPO website and the Google app.
I'm sorry, before you go on, there is a couple of questions from Shannon on the chat regarding the ratings. It says, looks like the rating review column still lists valuable instead of solid performer, assuming we just use valuable instead of those who are marking us complete and identify the rating. And she gave a screenshot. Let me see.
That's okay. Nina, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and thank you for bringing that up, Shannon. We'll go ahead and fix those in the tracking spreadsheets. So that way we'll get that repaired. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay, so I'm going to now go next to the website. Let's see. No. So basically everything that we've done in the past is now on the website. All of the, most of the presentation for the Google app setup is in the website now. And I think I've showed this to you, a few of you folks that came to some of the other presentations. the changes that were made to the website, and they're pretty dramatic. So one of the same area that's still here is the calendars. Of course, we have all the different flavors of calendars that are available for everybody to choose from. We have the timeline overview. And right now we are all in this May timeframe. So this is a real high level. Some of these other calendars are a little bit more granular, like this. I think it's the main calendar. So it starts going into real granular level of what type of things need to be done. The other area that's been added in here, and everything now has a table of contents. So you don't have to go hunting around for whatever you're looking for. And I did my best to kind of organize it so that hopefully it makes a little bit more sense. For instance, the roles and responsibilities, if you want to say, well, what does a DPO do? You can click on that. And we talk about what a DPO's roles and responsibilities are. So you work with the division management, HR field staff to establish division timelines, requirements, and it just gives a basic list of what the DPOs are generally responsible for. We've also included a link to the process owner DPO website. So anytime you want to take a look through here, see what, like for instance, what is IT responsible for? What am I responsible for, or the field staff? So you can go through all of this and take a look at everybody's responsibilities and roles. Next is all our key process terms. Okay, these are definitions of everything. So say for instance, we need to learn about things in this particular meeting, for instance, role accounts. What is a role account? Because I'm going to talk about role accounts. A role account is a Google account that owns all of the division's PMP documents and sends all emails with the exception of HelloSign. So role accounts is something that we set up during the PMP process to help send out the emails that notify employees that the PMP process has started, start your self-assessments, it notifies the supervisors, managers, and so forth. So these definitions in here, it even talks about what's the PMP, P2R, PRD, job performance review, individual development plan. So it goes through all of the different terminology within this process that we'll be using. This section here is about adding a new HR division partner or division process owners, because sometimes that can happen smack in the middle of our processes. We're trying to get things going. People come and go, and sometimes we have new people that show up mid-process. So what you would do is just fill out the requester's name, who you are, your email, the employee email, and what role that they would be doing. At the bottom of this, once you fill everything out, the divisions they'll be supporting. This is basically all the information that we would need to set up a person as a DPO. After you do that, you would hit submit, and it comes to us in a basically an email. I get a notification, and then we can get you set up. You can also send me a quick little email just to nudge me to make sure that I did get it. So that's another new thing that we brought on board this year. We still have the list of the FY21 Google Doc division process owners. That is listed here. And now this area here, this is where it gets a little bit more different. One area off to the side on my left right now, it says division process owner guidance and procedures. And then right below that, you have HR division partner guidance. So the division process owner guidance and procedures are what all division process owners or even the HR DPs can look at to see what exactly where we are and how do we do the next process. So right now we're on phase 2, the Google app setup, which is April through May. So I'm going to click on to phase 2. And off to the side, it's going to tell you everything that we need to do in phase 2. And if there's things that are missing here, I'm actually updating them as they're happening. So I really suggest that you guys come to this website as much as you can, because it really is going to give you so much information that's going to be helpful for your setup and even all the way through the closeout. Because you might notice off to the left side here, I have phase 3 and phase 4, which is the closeout. So I start out with areas to focus on right now. We've already attended the roundtable meeting. We've had our deadlines to complete checklist update. The faculty for reviews have already come to me. So I've kind of already gone through all this area and here are most of it. And right here is where we're sitting in the Google application setup timeline. We're sitting between the prepare for app setup and setup application. So right now, the PMP checklist, those had already been shared and everybody's been modifying the checklist. The role account access has just been delegated. That actually happened recently. And I'll go over that by the end of the meeting. So if you choose, you can start accessing these, your accounts. Let's see. Right now, we're filling in, modifying the PMP checklist. That should have been done already. HR and DPOs are reviewing and modifying tracking spreadsheets, which I believe is also, should be finished up really soon. And the tracking spreadsheets have already been shared. So right now, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be setting up the emails, entering the division email settings, everything up to the point that IT can start loading the tracking spreadsheets. So with the tracking spreadsheets, these are the reviews that most of you have already done. We've already shared them with your division. It's up to each division as far as the HRDPs, whether they're going to share the tracking spreadsheets with their DPOs or not. Some do, some don't. So it's really division dependent on how they want to run their process. You've already reviewed your tracking spreadsheets for eligible employees. If you need to go back and change it, that's okay, because we're going to get to a point where you're going to tell us when to upload the data. So if you need to make any changes, we're still at a point that those changes can be made pretty easily. Again, I'll change the reviews as far as the ratings go, and that way we'll get that all set up too. So also to add an additional one-up reviewer, it's done on the tracking spreadsheet for a specific employee. You can modify column X, and it talks about adding additional reviewers. And then also division directors, please check your tracking spreadsheet for any division directors. You mark a Y in the division director, which is column D. In other words, saying yes, in order to receive the division director form. They have a different form than the rest of the PMP. And only division director level should receive this form. No deputies, no business managers, or anybody else. If there was anybody that was newly eligible, for some reason they weren't on the sheet, it talks about how to add a row to your tracking spreadsheet for newly eligible employees. We need to notify us at PMP support and PMP. So I think this is after we actually upload the app. Luis, are you on right now? Hello?
Right here, Pat.
Okay, once they add a row in the tracking spreadsheet, if we haven't uploaded the tracking spreadsheets, do they still need to notify us that they've added a person?
Yes, just
Okay.
notify, send an email to pmp-support@lbl.gov, and I'll run the process to look for new employees.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So go ahead and notify us that you've added an employee, and Luis will do his process. So next is a tracking spreadsheet.
Pat?
Yes.
Hi, and a quick question. That last scenario, that's only if for some reason an appropriate or eligible employee wasn't on the original sheet, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, just somehow there was an oversight, right? It's not when we've moved someone from one division to another. If they were already on it, we don't need to let you know, correct?
No, there's a whole section on that about moving and transferring people around.
Okay,
So
thank
we can
you.
go through that after. So basically, this is how the tracking spreadsheet and the PMP application have a data exchange. So if you notice all the tracking spreadsheets on your upper left corner, we start with this initial load of all data. So what happens is once all the tracking spreadsheets are ready to go, you give Luis the okay, and we're ready to load. All the data will then get loaded into the PMP app. So the PMP app, what happens is it will continue to update like every 5 minutes between the tracking sheet and the PMP app. Those two talk together. But you notice like newly eligible employee, HRDP adds a row and then requests an import. So what happens is when you're getting a newly eligible employee, you have to make the request. So that way we can get the person into the app. So that's a process that has to be done in the background. So if you see off to the side there, it says IT manually imports new employee and gets them in the app. Review status initialized, ineligible, and complete. So those things are kind of, this is a whole thing that's kind of going back and forth and around. So the majority of it is pretty automated, but then there are some things that we have to manually do or that Luis takes care of. So now we're going to get into setting up the actual app. So what you want to do first is complete your PMP checklist on tab number 2. And I have that up right now. Here's your PMP checklist. Here's tab number 2. You want to make sure that you have your division settings. And if you notice on the checklist, if you see at the top up here, let me go over here. It talks about everything. Here's your division settings on the very top row here. Pretty much it tells you exactly your division name. It's going to default to the HRS level 1. All of these headers are going to help you set up the actual app. So in here, it'll tell you these, this is what you want the name to be. A URL, if you have, this is optional. Some divisions have their own website, their own place where they want to put the website to the performance management. They want to add a link there. Any division specific due dates, all of these different things, who your contacts, and all of this is all in here. So your checklist, and the checklist, what makes this important is that you're going to pretty much copy and paste off this checklist when you go into the app. So you just want to make sure that you have all of these specific due dates, all of these things set up in your checklist. Allow supervisors to release reviews anytime. Do not check this until after the calibration meetings and the all clear. Basically, it'll come from my area. I will give you the all clear because I'll be working directly with the LD, and they'll let me know when Dr. Weatherall has approved to move forward. So expanded one-up calculation, supervisor. So it explains exactly what you have here. List your division-wide one-ups and any division-wide exclusions, very rare, but they would be excluded from being a one-up no matter what. So this just kind of gives you a little visual about what the default option is, and this would be an expanded option. Then we go into email settings. Can you access the role account? And what is the role account? When you go into your Gmail, that little picture up in the corner, I don't know if you can see, I have my right up there at the top. Either it's your picture or some people maybe have their initial, but that's where you click onto to get to your Gmail, to the role account. In there, you need to have customized your email. We'll go further into that. Send emails to your one-ups. So anyone to exclude from the one-up email. So these are questions that you're going to ask yourself as you're setting up your email settings. So if no email is sent, then supervisors have to manually inform the reviewers or reviewers that need to be periodically checking the website. So one of the two things has to happen if you don't have them receiving an email. And then ratings editor. Do you have anyone that you'd like to designate as ratings editor? They'll be able to see and set ratings for everyone in the division. Usually it's the HR division partners that are often the ratings editors. And again, this is in here, I believe. You go through, see email and settings customization at the top in number 2 in yellow, ratings editor number 3 in purple. So customize emails. You're going to open your role account inbox. I don't have a role account, so I can't really do that to show you. But again, go into your Gmail, go up into the corner, and that should be where your role account sits, and you should be able to click onto that. You want to go to the drafts label on the left, where you have your inbox. You'll also have your drafts email. You want to modify the draft messages that were used last year and change the text so that it'll fit your needs for this year. And most of the time, excuse me, there's a lot of divisions that may use the same text, or you can change it. But usually it's also making sure that you have the current fiscal year. So that way, when people receive the review, they see it's for this year. And that's one of the main things. So you modify the draft messages. Don't send the draft because it won't be a draft if you send it. So you don't want to do that. And I'll go through the actual app to show you how to do a test. The one thing off to the side here, we talk about different types of email and different types of options that are available. So these are your PMPs, PRD, P2R. Those are customizable for self-assessment and final self-assessment. Your draft review. There's an optional one-up review draft sent to one-up reviewers. So anyway, in this little box, it kind of gives you an idea of what options are available. So any questions so far?
You're probably the one on the way in. So you.
Pardon me? Hello, any questions? Okay, I'm going to keep going. The Google app application, okay? What you want to do is go to the process owner page. Let's see, do we have a chat? Yes, the role accounts have been set up. Thank you, Deborah. I just saw something on chat. Sorry, guys. So anyway, I'm going to keep going. The Google application setup procedure, basically you have to find your process owner page. You want to complete your division settings. You're going to customize your emails in the Gmail role account. Then you're going to validate and modify your tracking spreadsheets. So anything else that needs to be done there. Next, we're going to go to the process owner page and we're going to follow steps 1 through 6 on the setup tab. I'm just going to go through this right now, and then I'm actually going to do a live example to show you where to find the process owner page actually on this website. So what we're going to do is, number 1, you're going to follow steps 1 through 6 on the setup tab, which you see down here. We're going to fill out division settings, update email drafts in the Gmail role account. We're going to fill out any email settings and we're going to send test emails. Then we're going to verify that the tracking spreadsheets are ready. Okay, and this, when we say they're ready, we're going to go to PMP checklist tab 2, column U, which is right here. Have you validated your eligible employees? So this is where you'd start changing that to yes. FY checklist update completed. That could be yes also. So once we've done that, you're going to reach out to PMP-support and request a data upload. Once the data upload, you need to go and verify your uploaded data. And once you verified and everything looks good, then you're going to just share the prior year's review. We're going to notify IT when all the setup tasks are complete, and then IT will start creating the documents when the launch happens. So here's a process owner page. You're going to click onto that, and basically it just has all of the screenshots here of what to do. Your division settings, division name. Remember, we talked about that over here. Here's your division name. You're going to copy and paste it into these areas. Here's your performance website address, the date of self-assessments, the date reviews are shared with the reviewers, date reviews are released. So that's the one panel that you'll be filling out. The next one, make sure that, again, you've gone through your role accounts and those have already been set up. So when you go to set up your emails, you're going to modify your email settings. What you're going to do is you're going to click onto this button off to the side, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. So you're going to select an email setting for all 3 emails. You're going to check the box for email one-up reviewers, and then you're going to save your changes. You're going to go through steps 3 through 6. You're going to verify your tracking spreadsheet that it's ready. Again, column U in the PMP checklist tab number 2. You're going to request the data upload, send the request to PMP support when you're ready. You're going to verify the uploaded data. You're going to go in there, make sure you have all the right folks. Do they have the right forms? If you have a division director, does the division director have the division director form, and so forth? And then you're going to send an email to confirm that your data is ready. It's good. After that, you're going to share your prior year reviews. So step 7 would be notify IT when everything is complete. All the data should be loaded and verified in order for IT to create the documents. IT will be launching all the divisions on a determined launch day beginning at 8 a.m. and it will be completed the following day. So the time frame that we want to get all of this verified data uploaded is by May 26th. So that gives everybody roughly 2 weeks. Today's the 12th, and by the 26th, you should have 2 weeks to get all of this finished. So that way, Luis will have enough time to, because it does take time to create all the documents. So that's pretty much the process here. And I'm going to go back to the table of contents and show you that each one of these steps, you can click on any point. How do I do this? Or finding the process owner page. Step 1, it goes through all of this here, the Google application setup procedure. After that, it starts going into things that are like making changes, changing supervisors in the same division, adding or removing a reviewer, adding, removing division-wide reviewers, division transfers. It talks about that. So this is the area, it's going to be in phase 2 that you want to take a look at. So any of these type of things that are happening or going on, this is where you want to go to see it. And at the very end here, the video trainings, recorded messages and slides. Well, everything that has to do with phase 2 will also be in this area here. So this meeting today, after I finish recording it, I will go ahead and I will post it and upload it into this section here. So any questions on that portion? Again, I promised to show you where we're going to go and how to get to the division process owners. Now, this other area I talked about before, the division partner guidance. So this is more for division partners. These are areas that you're going to look for that are really HR related. Okay. The probationary review guidance is listed in here. So this is where it's posted. It's posted as a PDF. If you want to, you can actually print this out. If you click on here, you can print out the PDF. So we have employee review requirements, postdoc review requirements, HR field procedures, LOA procedures, proposed rating distributions, nothing has changed. Our final approval procedure, non-compliance, special employee status circumstances. This is one that you might want to poke around a little bit into. For instance, excuse me, anybody who's on an ILA, which includes an MLA and IPA, they're on assignment, they're working with another, whether it be campus or federal agency, they still get a review. So as long as they're eligible for a review, they get a review. And again, what usually happens is the person on an IPA or an MLA would have to then work with the supervisor of that person on the assignment. So it would be a joint kind of a collaboration to put their evaluation together. Let's see, what else we talk about.
Pat?
Yes.
Hi, this is Kelly. So I just wanted to let you know that on this section for the special circumstances, the probationary reviews link, that shows different information than what the new process is.
I just saw that. Thank you for pointing that out. I'm going to fix it. I knew that there was a second one. This is under the special. Okay, I'm going to make sure I get that changed today. Thank you for pointing that out.
You're welcome.
Let's see. And so everything else in here, like I said, the special circumstances. And if you see anything like that, please bring it up by all means, because this is a living, breathing document and everybody's input is very helpful. Let's see, we have reclassifications, we hired retirees, terminations, transfers, and visiting researchers. And let's see, you can contact, these are all the contacts to get a hold of us. Basically, our GDocs is more of a support from the community, from our PMP community out there. You can throw questions out there. All of you folks that have been working on this can kind of help each other as far as some general questions and group support. PMP support is more confidential, or you're having an access issue. This is not something that the group can really help with. That's when you would contact PMP support, or you're letting us know that, hey, my division is completed, I'm ready for upload, that sort of thing would be through PMP support. And divisional Google Docs related issues would go to your DPO. Now I want to go back to the home. And right here, if you may notice, it says important notice. The PMP site is online for FY21 for DPOs and HRDPs. So we are actually up and running now. The role accounts have already been delegated, so Luis is taking care of that. So if you click onto this right here, this button, it's going to launch you directly into the performance management. So right now I have this one clicked on, so I'm going to go to process owner page. You go home, there's nothing in here right now, but we're going to go to setup. And when you go to setup, this is where you're going to enter your division settings. Every single one of these little icons actually has instructions right at the bottom there. So if you Let's see. So basically, oops, sorry, that didn't turn out right. At this bottom down here is where you're going to take a look at what to do. It says enter your site information, division name, contact text, web address. Choose the one-up reviewer options will be used to calculate the one-up reviewers for your division, done once during upload. So if I click on here, these are the places where you're going to be putting in these settings. Louise said there's some basic like default information in there that is automatically put in, but then you can also add your own settings in here and just copy and paste directly on here. Your division-wide reviewers, you want to, let's see, I think, allow release to employees. Is that correct, Luis? So you click that box and then
Yeah,
say.
so hi Pat.
Hi, Luis.
Yeah, when setting up the divisions, the preliminary setup, there is some information which we could load up that is common to every division, and that's what you're seeing right now. It doesn't mean that you can't change it. So for instance, EHS will have different dates than the other divisions, and that can be configurable completely. Division context, all of that is different for every single division. Now, when it comes to no supervisor rating changes, that's something that's going to come down the path when we lock the ratings. So that can remain unchecked until supervisors can, until we lock the ratings. And then allow release to employee. I don't know what the directive is, but what that means is that if this is not checked, supervisors are not able to release the final review to their staff. So the moment this is checked for your divisions, that's when supervisors can release to their employees. So that's, I don't know what the direction is on that one, but that's what that means.
Okay, thank you. I think we check it later on, don't we? That's what I think we did in the past. Once we said the no supervisor ratings, excuse me, are locked in, then we allow release to employees at that point. So you would not at this time want to check these boxes. Let's see, division-wide reviewers. So once you get everything filled in, you want to save your changes. Excuse me.
And Pat, one last thing I want to say is that for everyone's benefit is when you go into the process owner page to set up your division, each of these tabs has excuse me, instructions as well. So if you look at the bottom part, that should give you a pretty good idea of what you need to do. And not every single tab is something for you to do, right? So there is one that is for IT to take care of, but you'll see instructions under each step.
Thank you, Louise. So the next step would be to set up your emails. And again, step 2, here's your instructions. It says click on the email settings button below, select the email drafts in the roll account drafts folder, and then you choose the email options from your division. So we're gonna look at the email settings. I don't think they're all in there yet. For now, what you would select one, your first one would be your self-assessment email. Let's see. Hang on. And then the second would be your supervisor draft review email. And then the final one would be the employee supervisor released review email. You'd also want to click on email one-up reviewers and save changes. Again, excluding from emails is pretty rare to exclude any one-up reviewers. But we do talk about it. Again, go back into the website so that way you can see that. So you want to click your save changes after you've saved your changes, and you can redo this step as many times as you need to. Then you click on the send test emails button below to send yourself test emails. That's how you can check your emails to make sure that they're saying what they're supposed to say and they're doing what they should do. Review the emails, making sure to test all the links. If you need to modify them, go to your division role account drafts. Remember, that's in your Gmail account. And you should have delegated access to the inbox and modify the drafts. So you repeat this process till you're satisfied with your emails. So the next step is to verify your tracking spreadsheet, work with HR division partners to verify the tracking spreadsheet is accurate. Make sure you've entered the email addresses and separate it by commas in the additional reviewers column if necessary. So that's in the tracking spreadsheet. There's a column that talks about additional reviewers. Once all of that's been verified, your tracking spreadsheet's good to go, then you're going to ask PMP support, email us directly, pmpsupport@lbl.gov to initiate the data upload from your tracking spreadsheet. So at this point, it says, note, this will not result in any document creation, sharing, or emails. It's just a preparation step. So at this point, you tell Luis, upload. He comes back and says, it's been uploaded. The next step is to validate your uploaded data. So you're going to reload the browser tab, then go to the employee data tab, which is up here on your left-hand corner next to home, and view the results of the data upload. In particular, verify that the one-up reviewers calculated in the upload step are correct, and you also check that the form types are correct. So your division director should have the PMP director form. If not, ask PMP support for help. So we'll be able to back it up the step. And then the last step would be to share the prior year reviews. Follow these steps, go to the prior year review tab, which is up here at the top, and click the preview sharing button. So if I go to prior year review, I click on preview sharing. It says prior year review is complete. Click the close button to see the results. We don't have any data yet, so that's why it's going to show blank. So I'm going to go back to the setup. So you'll review the documents that are going to be shared. So you'll click the start continue sharing button. If the sharing was not able to complete within the Google 5-minute limit, then click the start continue sharing button again. And that's pretty much it as far as getting the setup. Let's see. I think we're good. Does anybody have any questions?
I just want to point, this is Luis again, I just want to point out that once you validate the data, just get like the instructions say, give us the heads up, which means we're ready to create the documents for your division.
So again, please spend a lot of time, as much as you can, in the website. And again, if you don't see something in there, let us know. Nina's been a wonderful help in gathering all of this information, and we're trying to disseminate it and document it as well as we can. So everybody's help and input matters. And I want to thank you all for coming to our meeting today. Is there any other questions that we have? Okay. Well, thank you so much. I just gave you guys back 10 minutes of your time.
Thank you, Pat.
Pat, I'm sorry, there is a question in there from Laura King.
Okay.
Yeah, and Laura, to answer your question, so Slack is not used by everyone in this team, in this group. I think and that's a great suggestion, but most likely if we do go with a chat option, it's going to be Google Chat, but I'll have that conversation with Pat and Nina to see if we can set up maybe even, I to be honest, I'd love to set up a Google Currents destination for this community, because I think that's a really great place to move away from email and have a location where we could have information that remains on that community. So I promise I'll have a conversation with Pat and Nina. Maybe we can set up a Google Currents, and I'm more than happy to provide training to any group or anyone who wants to know more about Google Currents.
Thanks, that'd be great. It just seems like, especially when we kind of get neck deep in the process, there's a lot of emails that are really just, this isn't working for me. And I get, 15 of them a day, and none of them impact me. And it's a lot. So that's what I'm just, there's a way to kind of.
It's a lot, and a lot of things can get lost in the weeds. And I think for this case, maybe Google Currents, and if anyone's interested in taking a look at it, just go to currents.google.com. We have a couple of destinations in there, including the Google users group. So I think maybe we can do some